Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, and most importantly, 2022 graduates. I'm humbled and I'm honoured to be here at this moment in your lives. This is a moment of transition, a moment of moving up in the world, a moment that shapes your future and the rest of your life. Firstly, congratulations for this achievement. No one can ever take this away from you. You've attained a level of education and insights worthy of recognition. The work you've done will set you up for your next chapter in life. But it's not all roses for the next chapter in life. You're graduating at a time in history that is not normal. You studied through a pandemic, the likes of which the world has never seen. Your university experience was unlike that of any graduate who has come before you. You were the first generation to experience this kind of disruption to your education and to experience a completely new way of learning, a way of learning that was being made up as we were going along. You are now graduating into an economy that is unlike anything that has come before. High inflation, labour shortages, retiring baby boomers, technology unemployment, political upheaval, culture wars, supply shocks, unaffordable housing, recessions, and a war on the European continent. Just as you get ready to make your big move in the world is in upheaval. Right when you want to be bold and truly come alive, you're being told every day in the news that it's time to batten down the hatches, to be fearful and to be reserved. How should you feel about this? Negative? What should you be thinking? How to mitigate risks? What could you be doing? Sitting patiently, waiting for normal programming to resume, perhaps. I want to share with you some personal stories that might make sense of what to do next, or at least provide just a little bit of context. First story is from when I was 10 years old. I arrived home from a karate lesson and discovered that we had had a kitchen fire in my family home. A fire truck was parked on the lawn, and there was a big black hole on the inside of the wall, and the windows were all covered with soot. The next day we piled up all the furniture and fixtures. Most things were smoke damaged and had to be replaced. We had a skip full of things that were going to be taken to the tip when my first entrepreneurial idea hit me. What if I clean up these things and I sell them? At age 10, I ran my very first garage sale. By the way, a garage sale is like an online marketplace where people really come and see you at your house. I cleaned up all of the items and I arranged them on tables. I spoke to my next door neighbours and I discovered that they wanted to sell things too, and I did a 50-50 joint venture split with them. I made posters and put them up in the local stores, and I put an ad in the local newspaper advertising the sale. I remember there was one man who came up to me during that day and he said, "Can I speak to your father?" He wanted to get a discount on the damaged microwave. My father came out and he said, "You'll have to talk to my son about that. It's his business." I felt a surging sense of pride that I had created something, that my ideas had become a reality. Needless to say, there was no discount on the microwave. By the end of the day, I'd made $300. I bought a Sega Master System, which was a big deal at the time, a fluorescent green BMX bike, not a BMW. And that was the moment that I got hooked on business. See, a bad thing happened. We had a house fire, but it turned out to be a life-changing opportunity. That house fire sparked something inside of me that shaped the rest of my life in a very positive way. My second story is from when I was 20 years old and really excited to enter the workforce. This was a time of radical new technologies like email, search engines, and mobile phones. We were being told every single day that the internet was going to become the future and it would transform the whole world. We were told that people would one day have vast amounts of information at their fingertips, education, e-commerce, and highly addictive 15-second TikTok videos. No one saw that coming, actually. No sooner had I started getting ready to enter this arena, the dot-com crash happened. Apparently, the internet wasn't going to be useful after all. Suddenly, we were told that it was all fake. All these businesses were bankrupt. Everyone who had been involved in this was now out of a job. Very soon after that moment, September 11 happened. I vividly remember watching in disbelief as two of the world's biggest buildings fell from the sky. The whole world seemed to freeze, and plunged into darkness. A war started in the Middle East, and closer to home, we had a daily reminder of the threat of terrorism that it was lurking around the corner. Rather than getting a cool job in a big tech company, I joined a small business with 3 people and didn't even have a name or a bank account at the time. It wasn't exactly Google, but it did give me the opportunity to be mentored by the business owner personally. In the following 2 years, we grew that little business from the kitchen table in a small beachfront town to 60 people with inner city Melbourne offices. That gave me the learnings and the confidence to go off and start my own business at age 21. We launched and did over $1 million in our first year, and by year 3 we were doing $1 million a month in sales through a partnership we'd put in place. By age 25, I'd built a multi-million-dollar business with operations across Australia. We had a team of 20-somethings. We worked hard, we played hard, and we had the most incredible adventures in our 20s. See, really bad things happened in the early 2000s. It was a massively disruptive time, but it turned out to be a life-changing opportunity. It'd be easy to assume that the dot-com crash in September 11 would have destroyed my career prospects, but it actually created the conditions that I needed to become an entrepreneur. Story number 3. I exited that business and moved to the UK in 2006 to launch a new business. Like many of you, I came to London not knowing any people at all. I arrived in Heathrow with a suitcase and a credit card. In the first year, we did close to £4 million worth of sales. In 2007, just 1 year after arriving in London, we hired the London Palladium Theatre with 2,000 people attending one of our events, and we made over £500,000 in sales in the week after. Things were looking incredible, but just as we were about to really take off, the financial crisis unfolded. We entered a deep recession that would last for years. My main supplier in Singapore went bankrupt and couldn't pay us hundreds of thousands of dollars that they owed us. Our supplier in the USA stopped working with us because the UK pound versus the US dollar was volatile and there was a huge currency risk. Our revenues dropped by 90%, and I had to let most of my team go, and we narrowly avoided bankruptcy ourselves. I moved from my penthouse apartment on the Thames to my sister's spare room. In the depths of the collapse, I also slipped on ice, almost breaking my arm. My girlfriend at the time struggled with her mental health, and my best friend and co-founder decided to leave and start a new life in Bali. It was during that very lonely time that I had to reflect on my learnings and reinvent myself to launch a new business. I wrote a book that year about what I had been learning in business and what I was seeing with new social media technology. I turned out to be one of the first people to write about the power of building a personal brand on social media and put it into a business book. That book, Key Person of Influence, became a bestseller with over 100,000 copies getting out into people's hands. I then launched Dent Accelerators, which was a hit with entrepreneurs. We attracted an incredible entrepreneur lineup of mentors to the program, and we gained a reputation for being part of some amazing entrepreneurial success stories. We opened offices in Australia, Singapore, USA, and Canada. Along the way, I discovered the United Nations Global Goals, and we worked with over 3,500 startup businesses to get them aligned to solving the world's most meaningful problems. I wrote a series of best-selling books and then merged with my publisher. We've since helped over 1,000 entrepreneurs to write and publish their own books about how to change the world. We've helped thousands of businesses to invent and launch products. We've raised hundreds of thousands for charities. We've traveled the world, and I've met my entrepreneurial heroes along the way. Many of our clients have gone on to build businesses of their dreams and credit our accelerator programs for making a huge difference in their lives. Almost every week I hear about stories from our clients and the successes they've had in business and in solving big, meaningful problems in the world that they attribute back to the things that they learnt with our accelerators. The disruption of the financial crisis made people go looking for new ways to start and grow businesses. That trend impacted me, and it created the conditions for my books to sell and my business accelerator to succeed. A bad thing happened in 2008, but it turned out to be a life-changing opportunity. The final story I want to tell you is more recent. 2 years ago, the pandemic hit out of nowhere. 1 minute we were growing our business into new cities, and we were worried about some fires in Australia. The next thing we heard about a city in China shutting down, and then the whole world was shutting down. My business was as face-to-face as you can imagine. We ran live events around the world in 8 cities. Suddenly, we couldn't meet up or run events. We had to transform the business to go completely digital in a matter of weeks. I put 80% of my UK team on the furlough scheme. I took out an emergency loan, and I began the work of transforming the business from top to bottom. Digital transformation projects that we thought would take us a year had to happen in a month, and with most of our team away from work. It wasn't just the pressure of my business that needed rescuing. All of the thousands of businesses we'd worked with over the 2010s all wanted our help as well to reinvent their business too. We hosted emergency Zoom calls for our clients 3 times a week. We set up an entrepreneur support group on Facebook. We took our events online, and suddenly new clients from all over the world started showing up. With the same size team, Dent Accelerators went from having clients in 8 cities to having clients all over the world. As we made changes ourselves, we spotted some technology that we were using that could be valuable to others. It was a way of connecting with clients and getting better marketing results. We spun this technology into a new company called ScoreApp. We showed ScoreApp to our clients and they loved it. Over 2,000 of them signed up pretty quickly as new clients of that business. The trust and the connection that we were building with them through the pandemic translated into a new business relationship. We showed investors the technology and they also loved it. They made an angel investment in us, valuing the business at over £10 million. A tiny little side hustle quickly grew because the technology was more relevant than ever and because we had a connection and trust with our clients. Once again, a bad thing happened, but it turned out to be a life-changing opportunity. It's easy to believe that the pandemic would have ruined a business like ours that ran face-to-face events all over the world, but it turned out to be the very thing that transformed the business into a more scalable and impactful venture, and a business that's more fun and more compatible with my young family. So I tell you these 4 stories to make a simple point. You could be forgiven for believing that these times are tough, that you're entering an unfavourable economy and there are disadvantages beset you. You could be forgiven for thinking that the conditions for success right now are utterly terrible. Let me be really clear. I believe there's never been a better time to be launching yourself into the world. There's never been more money in the economy looking for resourceful people to deploy it. The very definition of inflation is too much money looking for too few goods and services. What an incredible opportunity that is. Too much money, too few goods and services at a time when you've got relevant business skills. There's never been more mentors looking to pass on their knowledge. The baby boomers are now mostly in their 60s and early 70s, and they want to pass on their knowledge. They want to pass on business opportunities and connections, and they want to invest capital into rising stars. What an incredible opportunity this presents. A huge generation who wants to mentor you and invest in you at a time when you've got passion and decades ahead of you to succeed. There's never been more technology available to leverage your strengths and talents in the world. Yes, it's true that houses are expensive, but starting a company has never been cheaper. At no other time in history could you launch a global business with a global audience for free or almost for free. This is the moment when you could be coordinating a global team, buying and selling products, having a huge impact with a message, all from a tiny device that's probably in your pocket right now. There's never been more problems on the planet. We face environmental, social, and humanitarian problems. That is exactly what makes you very valuable right now. We need people with creativity, energy, passion, focus, who can mobilize solutions for all of those problems. Every problem you see is an opportunity to develop a scalable and robust solution that adds value to the world. And every problem you see has billions of pounds worth of funding opportunities attached to it. Congratulations on graduating with valuable skills at a time that the world needs you and wants you more than ever. Make no mistake, the world needs you, values you, and is ready to reward you. As you venture out into the world this year, don't listen to the news telling you to be fearful. Don't pay attention to social media trying to distract you. Tune into the opportunities that present themselves all around you. Opportunities to do your best work, important work, and rewarding work. If I can be so bold as to offer you some advice in the years ahead, be brave. Everything great sits outside of your comfort zone. Have fun. It's through play, it's through passion that the best ideas emerge. And do something important for the world. Now that you've graduated this important step, it's time for you to go out and make your dent in the universe. Thank you very much.